Let's begin by offering our respects to the founder Acharya of ISKCON, His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Ram Ram.
Srila Prabhupada ki Jai.
Jai.
Okay, the invocatory prayers, 1 second. Om Ajnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine. Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine. He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Haripriye Vancha Kalpa Taruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Please repeat after me. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Okay, so what did we see in the previous class?
We started the first chapter.
Yes, we started chapter 1. And what's the title of chapter 1?
Oops. Setting the scene.
Observing the armies on the battlefield of. Okay, what else did we see?
And we saw the Gita Mahatma for the first chapter.
Yes, what is the Falashruti or what is the benefit of reading, reciting, learning this chapter number 1? So what is a Falashruti? What is the benefit?
That anybody who recites the first chapter will easily cross over the ocean of material miseries and attain the service of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna.
Exactly, yes. So it's pretty beneficial, isn't it, to read chapter 1 of the Bhagavad Gita. Very nice. What else did we see? We saw the
first,
pyramid of Vedic knowledge. Do you remember? We saw
yes,
the pyramid?
yes, yes.
So we discussed how Bhagavad Gita reveals God's identity, and it's a universal book for everyone. Then above the Bhagavad Gita and the pyramid, we saw Srimad Bhagavatam, which is relished more by the Vaishnavas or the devotees of the Lord. And there we understand why we have to surrender to the Lord, because Srimad Bhagavatam describes the activities of the Lord. So when we see the activities of the Lord, for example, when we see how Krishna protects his devotees, how there is interaction of the devotees and the Lord, because the devotees want to please the Lord and the Lord wants to always protect his devotees. So it's a very, very sweet relationship between the Lord and the devotees. So when we read about that, then we fall in love with the Lord. And so we understand why we have to surrender to the Lord. So Bhagavatam describes the activities of the Lord. And then in the highest part of the pyramid, we saw the Chaitanya Charitamrita. The Chaitanya Charitamrita we discussed is about the life and pastimes of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the combined incarnation of Sri Radha and Krishna. Now, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came as a devotee of the Lord. He didn't reveal himself as Krishna himself, although he is Krishna himself, but he came in the mood of a devotee. So he would recommend everyone to chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Okay, so the Chaitanya Charitamrita is loved by the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. The followers of Lord Chaitanya are called as the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. So therefore, Chaitanya Charitamrita tells us how we have to surrender, or what is the mentality of the Lord. The mentality is that we must always love God. So this tells us how we have to surrender. The best way to surrender is to chant the Mahamantra. This Mahamantra previously was a secret mantra in the Vedas, and only the qualified people would receive it. But in the Kali Yuga, it is open to everyone, thanks to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who openly revealed it. So now if we have to chant this name, there are no rules and regulations. We don't have to wait to receive initiation to chant. We don't have to follow any niyama or any rules and regulation. Anyone, anywhere, anytime, anyhow, under any condition can chant this Mahamantra and receive the greatest benefit. So, okay, this much about the pyramid of Vedic knowledge. What else did we see? We discussed something called as Ardha Kukuta Nyaya. What is Ardha Kukuta Nyaya?
Half hen.
Half truth.
Half hen philosophy. So what does it mean in context of the Bhagavad Gita? What did we discuss?
You cannot accept some knowledge and leave some knowledge. You have to accept the entire Bhagavad Gita knowledge as it is, and word to word, sentence to sentence, paragraph to paragraph, whatever it's saying, you have to accept the entire thing, not just leave out some few and then accept few which are favorable, which are unfavorable. It doesn't work like that.
Yes, exactly. Just like how we cannot accept only the back part of the hen because it lays golden eggs, and we chop off the head of the hen. That's why this is called as a hen. No? Ardha Kukuta. Yeah, very nice, Sri Hari Radha Mataji. Thank you. What else did we see? What are the opening lines of the Bhagavad Gita?
Dhritarashtra Uvacha.
Dhritarashtra Uvacha. We discussed how Bhagavad Gita is a book on dharma, but it begins with the name of Dhritarashtra, who was far from dharma. Now, why would that be? Why does a book on dharma begin with the name of a person who is far from dharma? What does the name Dhritarashtra mean? We discussed, no? The meaning of the name Dhritarashtra.
Attached to land.
Yeah, one who's attached to kingdom or his land. Very nice. So Dhritarashtra was very much attached to his kingdom. He was so attached to his kingdom that even after all his 100 sons died and perished in the battlefield, he continued to live in the palace under the protection of Yudhishthir, the very Pandavas who killed his 100 sons. So imagine a father living with the killer of his 100 sons. So he was so attached to the kingdom. So when the Bhagavad Gita begins with this, it tells us that if one has this kind of a mentality of deep attachment, then one will not be able to understand the Bhagavad Gita in the right spirit. Because see, Dhritarashtra also heard the Bhagavad Gita live as it was spoken. It caused a change of heart for Arjuna, but it did not cause any change of heart for Dhritarashtra. Why? Because Dhritarashtra has the kind of mentality which is not suitable for understanding the Bhagavad Gita. So in the very beginning, we know that what kind of mentality we should not have if we want to understand the Bhagavad Gita in the right spirit. Okay, what else did we see? And before we began the Bhagavad Gita, we discussed how the Bhagavad Gita is divided into 3 sections. Right? The first 6 chapters, middle 6 chapters, and the last 6 chapters. Which is the most important?
Bhakti.
Middle.
Yeah,
The
the
Bhakti
middle
Yoga.
yes, exactly. The middle 6 chapters are the most important. They deal exclusively with Bhakti. So why is it kept in the middle? Because that which is precious is usually kept in the middle. We discuss how if we have a nice precious jewel, then we keep it in a nice jewel box, and we keep it under protection down and above. So the most precious thing is kept in the middle. Okay, what else did we see in chapter 1? We saw how Duryodhana goes to his teacher and taunts him by saying that, look at the military formation that is so expertly arranged by your disciple, isn't it? So he's taunting his guru that you gave education to Drishtadyumna despite knowing that he has appeared exclusively to kill you. So he's taunting his spiritual master in that particular verse. And what else is he doing by telling this to Dronacharya? We discussed that Duryodhana is a very expert politician. He's very good in Rajaniti. He taunts his spiritual master. At the same time, he is also instigating him to fight. In case he has any kind of soft corner, better you give it up. And he's instigating him to fight to his full strength. Because Duryodhana is very well aware that the Pandavas were actually the favorite students of Dronacharya when they were all in the Gurukul. What else did we see? We saw how Duryodhana is mentioning the warriors on the side of the Pandavas. So when he begins to mention these names on the sides of the Pandavas, and he tells that, oh, look, there are these Maharathis are there and these great warriors are there. What is actually happening is that there is some fear that has crept into the heart of Duryodhana. That's why he's saying, oh, look at this person. He's a Maharathi. This great warrior is there and stuff like that. And we discussed how that amongst all the warriors that he mentioned, there was one very important person he forgot to mention. Who was that?
Krishna.
Lord Krishna.
Krishna himself, no? Krishna himself. So see how he thinks that Krishna is of no use on the opposite side just because he's taken the vow not to lift any weapon. So he thinks Krishna is completely inconsequential, despite the fact that Duryodhana has seen the universal form of the Lord. When did Duryodhana see the universal form of Krishna?
When he came as a Shanti Duta. When
he went as a peace messenger or the Shanti Dut to Hastinapur before the war for a peace proposal, no? And he proposed to Duryodhana and Dhritarashtra that you just give 5 villages. You give just 5 villages and there will be no war. But that time, what did Duryodhana say?
That he cannot get even the point of a needle, I think. That was the words he used.
Yeah, exactly. He said that I will not give even that much land which can be measured with the point of a needle. The mentality of Duryodhana. And then Duryodhana wanted to capture Krishna. He ordered his guards to capture Krishna, and then Krishna showed his universal form right there, no, in the court of Hastinapur. At that time, what happened to Dhritarashtra? Does anybody know? When Krishna showed his universal form. Dhritarashtra, for the first time, he could see. For the first time in his life, he saw, okay? He was given the eyes to actually see that universal form. So anyway, coming back to our point was that Duryodhana failed to recognize Krishna on the opposite side, even after Duryodhana saw the universal form of the Lord. He has already seen that, but he's so blinded by envy that he fails to recognize Krishna as the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Okay, so we stopped at this in the previous class where Duryodhana mentions the warriors on the opposite side. In today's session, we'll see how Duryodhana begins to mention the warriors on his own side. So we see fear has crept into the heart of Duryodhana, and he realizes that, when he went to speak to his teacher Dronacharya, all the other warriors had gathered around to listen to what Duryodhana has to say now, just at the beginning of the war. So now Duryodhana is thinking, the expert politician, the great diplomatic Duryodhana is thinking that I should not discourage my own people, and I don't want to reveal my fears. So better I start to mention the warriors on our own side so that I can encourage the people who are on my side. So therefore, he begins to mention the warriors on his own side. That we will see in today's session. Before we begin, please repeat. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Namo
Namo Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om
Om
Namo
Namo
Bhagavate
Bhagavate
Vasudevaya.
Vasudevaya.
Who can read today?
Can I read?
Who's that? Who was that? Devina.
Devin.
Okay. Yes, Devina. Thank you. Okay. So let's hear the shloka first.
अस्माकं तु विशिष्टाये तान् निबोध द्विजोत्तमं नायकामम सैन्यस्य संज्ञार्थं तान् ब्रवीमि ते.
Translation. But for your information, O best of the Brahmanas, let me tell you about the captains who are especially qualified to lead my military force.
So he is referring to Dronacharya as Dvija Uttama. Or here in Sanskrit, we have Dvijottama. So what does Dvijottama mean? The word Dvija means?
Oh,
Uttam.
See, Dvijottama means, see, you can see in the synonyms here. Prabhupada has given us the word for word translation. So Dvijottama means, oh, best of the Brahmanas. The word Dvija means two. Okay, so Dvijas are people who are twice born. Now, what do we mean by people who are twice born? People who accept a spiritual master, they are called as Dvijas or twice born. So what are the two births? One birth is what we get from our biological parents. And the second birth is what we get from the spiritual master. Because the spiritual master is our spiritual father. So the spiritual master is our spiritual father, and the Vedas are considered to be our mothers. So in the Varnashram system, we have the Brahmanas, Kshatriyas, Vaishyas, and the Shudras. Yes. This is the original caste system that existed in the Vedic society. And Krishna will talk about this in detail in the 4th chapter. He talks about how he has created this Varnashram system. In this Varnashram system, amongst the Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra, the Brahmana, Kshatriyas, and Vaishyas are called as Dvijas because they are interested in gathering spiritual knowledge. But the Shudras are not interested in gaining spiritual knowledge. Therefore, they are called as Shudras. Okay, so the Shudras are not the Dvijas. And he's referring to Dronacharya as Dvija Uttama, means he is the best of the Brahmanas. In the Varnashram system, the Brahmanas are the topmost. And amongst the Brahmanas, he's saying that you are the best of the Brahmanas. So he's referring to him as Dvijottama, the best of the Brahmanas. So what is he telling him? That now I will tell you about the captains who are qualified to lead my military force. Let's go to the next.
भवान् भीष्मश्च कर्णश्च कृपश्च समितिञ्जयः अश्वत्थामा विकर्णश्च सौमदत्तिस्तथैव च.
there are personalities like you, Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwadama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta called Burishrava, who are always victorious in battle.
So he's mentioning the name of Dronacharya himself first. He's saying on our side we have you, Dronacharya, then Bhishma, Karna, Kripa, Ashwadhama, Vikarna, and the son of Somadatta called Bhurishwara. Now, see, first he mentions Dronacharya and then he mentions the name of Bhishma. Now, if you have to go by age or by means of seniority, who is more senior, Bhishma or Dronacharya?
Bhishma.
Bhishma is senior. Actually, Bhishma is one of the 12 Mahajans, one of the 12 greatest devotees of the Lord. So Bhishma is on a very, very exalted position. But he chooses to put the name of Dronacharya first. Why do you think so?
Because he was
Because
the guru.
Yeah, okay. So what we are going to do is when you want to answer any question, you raise your hand digitally on your Zoom so that there is no overlapping of voices. So who knows the answer to the question? Okay, Ranjit.
Because he was the guru and he was the mostly because of he was the guru of this Kula.
Okay. Any other perspectives? Gayatri?
Yes, Hare Krishna Mataji. Sorry, I was late.
No problem.
So Mataji, like Duryodhana is thinking that the Bhishma is so attached to the Pandavas, but so that's why maybe he can't like fight. But Dronacharya can fight and kill the Pandavas. So he's just hoping and motivating the Dronacharya, his guru, so that he can fight the war against to the Pandavas in his full strength and defeat them and kill them. The intention, this is the intention of the Duryodhana. I'm just
Okay, interesting perspective. Any more perspectives? Venkatachari Prabhu?
Yeah, I think he felt Drona was not very sure and probably addressing him to, to completely work with Duryodhana, with the Kauravas.
So because he's not sure, therefore he mentions his name initially?
Yeah. Or trying to get his 100% support.
Okay. He's trying to encourage him to give his 100% support. Okay, let's see. Krishna Kumar Prabhu?
Actually, when actually wants fight from his side, they all go for inviting everybody based on their sides. Bhishma at that time itself had told that you're also my grandkid, and the Pandavas also like my grandkid. So he says that I will not kill the Pandavas. Even though I'm fighting from your side, I will not kill the Pandavas. So because of that, the Krishna had always had a grudge that Bhishma will not be fighting like enemies with Pandavas. Even though he's fighting from his side because he is indebted to the throne, that is the reason he considers Bhishma as secondary. Whereas Dronacharya was not like that. Like he was indebted because they helped him, they made him the Rajguru and all those things. I think that was the reason why he treats Bhishma secondary to.
Okay. Okay. So okay, Gayatri, let's see what you have to say.
no, Mataji, sorry, I just forgot to.
Is it
So we have two
is
Gayatri.
it
Yeah.
does Duryodhana think that Dronacharya is more powerful than Bhishma and he's telling order according to most to least?
Okay. No, Duryodhana is very well aware that his greatest strength is Bhishma Dev, because he has the blessing that he can die only when he wants to die.
Oh, okay.
Any other perspectives? You have to remember that Duryodhana is an expert politician. So what is the political move that he's making here? By mentioning Dronacharya first. Okay, let's, the Acharyas explain. Okay, the Acharyas explain that Bhishma is a Kshatriya and Dronacharya is a Brahmana. Now, a Kshatriya in the pyramid of the Varnashram system, who's higher? Brahmanas are higher, isn't it? So if Bhishma, if Duryodhan mentions the name of Dronacharya, Bhishma will not object to it, or he will not feel bad, or he will not take offense, because he is a Kshatriya and he's a devotee. So as a devotee, he gives all respect to Brahmanas. He places Brahmanas higher than himself. So he knows that Bhishma, being a devotee, he has all respect for the Brahmanas. And therefore, if he mentions Dronacharya, Brahmana before him, Bhishma will not take offense. He wants to be in the good books of both Bhishma and Dronacharya, Duryodhan, at this point of time. So by doing this, he makes sure that he doesn't displease any of the two, neither Bhishma nor Dronacharya. Okay, this is what the Acharyas explain. What are the other names that are mentioned here? Bhishma, we know who is Karna. Karna was Duryodhan's friend. Actually, he is the son of Kunti, but it's not yet revealed at this point of time. Then we have Kripacharya, who was also the Kulguru, or the priest of Hastinapur. And we have Ashwadama. Ashwadama was the son of Dronacharya. And Vikarna
is one of the two righteous Kaurava brothers.
Yes, exactly. He's one of the two righteous Kaurava brothers. So what is the right thing that Vikarna did?
He questioned the humiliation of Draupadi.
Yes, when the Draupadi was insulted, he was the only one of the Kaurava brothers who objected to that. So actually, if you see all these names on the list, Vikarna is not at the same level of as these other warriors, okay, in terms of prowess. But still he is mentioning Vikarna's name so that he can please Vikarna by putting his name equal to these other great warriors, ensuring that Vikarna doesn't change sides, ensuring that Vikarna doesn't side with the Pandavas, because he remembers that Vikarna was the one who objected to the humiliation of Draupadi. And then we have the son of Somadatta called Bhurishwara. So Shantanu, or Bhishma's father, had a brother called Bahalika. And Bahalika's son was Somadatta, and Somadatta's son was Bhurishwara. So he was also a very, very powerful personality who was fighting on the side of the Kauravas. Who was the other righteous brother of the Kauravas other than Vikarna? Yuyutsu. So Yuyutsu was actually the stepbrother of Duryodhan. When Gandhari was expecting her 100 sons, she had a long gestation period of 2 years. At that time, Dhritarashtra had a son from a maid servant, and that was Yuyutsu. Now, when the war was about to begin, they made an announcement that if there is anybody who wants to switch sides, they are free to do so. So Yuyutsu had changed sides. From the Kauravas, he went to fight in favor of the Pandavas. So these are the two righteous brothers that Duryodhan had. If you want to draw a parallel to these two brothers from the Ramayana, whom would you compare these two brothers to?
Vibhishan
and
Bali and Sugriv.
Bali and Sugriv, yeah.
No, not Bali and Sugriv. Righteous brothers.
Oh, righteous brothers.
Vibhishan and Kumbhakaran.
Kumbhakaran and Vibhishan, isn't it? Both of them were righteous brothers of Ravan. One of them decided to switch sides and go and fight on the side of Dharma, and the other side was righteous, but still decided that it's my duty to fight on the side of my brother. So he kept his duties as a brother ahead of fighting in favor of Dharma. So like that, we can draw parallels to the Ramayana. Vibhishan was the one who switched sides. So he can be compared to Yuyutsu. And Vikarna didn't switch sides. He chose to fight for Duryodhan. So he can be compared to Kumbhakaran. Because Kumbhakaran also had told Ravan many times that you should return Sita. But Ravan refused to accept his advice. Okay. Let's go to the next.
Anye cha bahava shura मदर्थे त्यक्तजीविताः नानाशस्त्रप्रहरणाः सर्वे युद्धविशारदाः.
There are many other heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives for my sake. All of them are well equipped with different kinds of weapons and all are experienced in military science.
So what is Duryodhan saying here? That, oh, on our side also there are many heroes who are prepared to lay down their lives. And actually, eventually, that is what happened, isn't it? All these heroes who were on his side, almost all of them, they gave up their lives for the sake of Duryodhan. So this is exactly what happened at the end of the war. Who were the only 3 survivors on the side of the Kauravas?
Kama, Kripacharya,
Kripacharya,
Ashwadhama,
Ashwadhama, and one more name? Kritavarma. Kritavarma. Okay, so these were the 3 survivors on the side of the Kauravas. Let's go to the next.
अपर्याप्तं तदस्माकं बलं भीष्माभिरक्षितं पर्याप्तं त्विदमेतेषां बलं भीमाभिरक्षितम्.
Our strength is immeasurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma, whereas the strength of the Pandavas, carefully protected by Bhishma, is limited.
So now Duryodhana is saying that our strength is immeasurable. Aparyaptam. Aparyaptam is the word that he uses here. Aparyaptam. Immeasurable. So he's saying that our strength is measurable and we are perfectly protected by grandfather Bhishma. He knows that Bhishma is his greatest strength. Whereas the strength of the Pandavas is limited, he's saying. Ours is immeasurable, but the strength of the Pandavas is limited. And again here he's mentioning Bhim. He's not mentioning Arjuna or Yudhishthir, who's the king, but he's again only mentioning Bhim. We discussed last time how, because Bhim had taken the vows to kill all these brothers of Kauravas who were responsible for the disrobing of Draupadi. Therefore, he's afraid of Bhim more than he's afraid of Arjuna. So again, he's comparing Bhishma with Bhim. Now, the Acharyas explained that there are 2 meanings of this word aparyaptam. One meaning that Prabhupada has given us is immeasurable, which is one meaning. And the Acharyas explained that aparyaptam also means that it is insufficient. It is insufficient. Now, if we have to take this meaning of immeasurable, we will see how the army size of the Kauravas was greater than the army size of the Pandavas. So one Akshahoni, you can see here, so many chariots, so many elephants, so many horses, so many foot soldiers. So like this, 7 Akshahonis was the size of the Pandava army, and 11 Akshahoni was the size of the Kaurava army. So this is huge. This is a huge number. The description given is that when people would look at the army, they would not be able to see the end of the army. It was so much. So we can see how the size of the Kauravas army was far greater than the size of the Pandavas army. So therefore, he's saying that, Duryodhana is saying that our strength is immeasurable. Now, the other meaning of the word aparyaptam is that it is insufficient. So he's saying that our strength is insufficient. So double meaning, okay? If we take the second meaning, if Duryodhana is saying that our strength is insufficient because of Bhishma, is because he knows that, again, Bhishma has a soft corner for the Pandavas and he will not fight to his full capacity. So when he says this word immeasurable, with that one word, he is pleasing both Bhishma and Dronacharya. When he says that our strength is immeasurable, with the meaning that it is, it's aparyaptam with the meaning that is immeasurable because of Bhishma, then he's pleasing Bhishma Dev. And when he says that our strength is immeasurable, which is insufficient because of Bhishma Dev, so he's pleasing Dronacharya, because then Dronacharya is going to feel encouraged that, yes, I am the main player here. Duryodhana has more confidence in me, not so much on Bhishma. So with this one word and the double meaning, he's pleasing both Bhishma and Dronacharya. Again, he's an expert diplomat and an expert politician. Let's go to the next.
अयनेषु च सर्वेषु यथा भागमवस्थिताः भीष्ममेवाभिरक्षन्तु भवन्तः सर्व एव हि.
All of you must now give full support to Grandfather Bhishma as you stand at your respective strategic points of entrance into the phalanx of the army.
So now Duryodhana is thinking that, okay, I have glorified Bhishma, but I also need to encourage the other warriors who have gathered here to fight in my favor. So now he's saying that, oh, I must also talk to them. I must also encourage them. So now he's telling the other warriors that you must give full support to Grandfather Bhishma. So by saying that Grandfather Bhishma needs to be supported by all you people, he's glorifying these other people, no, saying that you have to protect him. So he's saying that, okay, Grandfather Bhishma, after all, he's an old man, and the Pandavas may take advantage of the fact that he's an old man, and therefore he needs to be protected. And all of you have to protect him, he's saying. So with that, we come to the end of section 1. Now we go to section 2. This section 2 is subtitled Signs of Victory of the Pandavas. So as we read this section, what you all can do is you can write down in your notes, what do you think in these verses indicate already that the Pandavas are going to emerge victorious? What are the signs that are there in the upcoming shlokas? Okay, that already indicates that Pandavas are going to emerge victorious. Have we seen any sign of victory of Pandavas so far in the first section?
The blowing of the conch shells?
The conch shells have not yet been blown.
Oh.
Yeah, Mehak?
Yeah, the Pandavas, they chose Lord Krishna on their side.
Pandavas have chosen Krishna on their side. So that is one sign of victory. Very nice. Any other sign of victory?
The flag with Hanuman?
We have not yet seen that. That is coming in the next section. Okay, it's in the next section.
The venue is karma, what you say? Especially the venue.
The venue, yes. The first sloka we saw, no? The venue is Dharma Kshetra, Kurukshetra. So it is an auspicious, it's a holy place. And when the war is fought on a holy place, the holy place is going to influence victory on the person who is holy, who is righteous, or those who are following adharma, non-righteous. What do you think?
The ones who are following
people who follow dharma.
Exactly, isn't it? Obviously, a holy place is going to favor the Pandavas who are righteous or who are holy. So this is one sign of victory that we have already seen in the first section. We will see a lot more in this upcoming verses. So you make a note, and at the end of the section, we will discuss all the signs of victory. So let's see how many points we can cover.
Tasya sanjanayan harsham uruvriddhah pitamahah simhanadam vinadyochaihi shankham dadmau pradhapavam.
Then Bhishma the Great Valiant, grandsire of the Kuruk dynasty, the grandfather of the fighters, blew his conch shell very loudly, making a sound like the roar of a lion, giving Duryodhana joy.
So Bhishma now, he decides that he doesn't want to speak anything in response to what Duryodhana is saying, because Duryodhana has been glorifying Bhishma. But Bhishma says, I don't want to speak anything. He just goes on to blow his conch shell very loudly. So Bhishma is like, okay, it's my duty to fight this war on your side. So I will fight the war. But that does not guarantee victory for Duryodhana. So he's blowing the conch shell. Conch shell is actually who holds the conch shell in his hands? Which Lord?
Lord Vishnu.
Lord Vishnu or Lord Narayan, no? Lord Narayan has 4 hands. So conch shell is one of the 4 things that he holds. What are the other 3 things that he holds in his other hands?
Lotus flower. Sudarshana chakra.
Lotus flower, Sudarshan chakra, yes. And one more?
Club.
The club, very nice. So there are 2 things for the devotees and 2 things for the demons. Which 2 are for the devotees?
Sudarshana lotus flower.
For the devotees, we have lotus flower and
Conch shell.
Conch
shell. And for the demons,
Sudarshan chakra.
Sudarshan chakra and the club, isn't it? Yes. Okay. So Bhishma has blown the conch shell very loudly. And what is the effect that this conch shell has had? It has given Duryodhan joy. It has made Duryodhan very, very happy. Okay, so the effect of Bhishma's conch shell is it made a huge, big sound like the roar of a lion, and it has given Duryodhan joy because Duryodhan is thinking that, oh yes, Bhishma is all set to fight the war in my favor. Let's see what happens next.
Tada shankascha bhedyascha panavanaka gomukha sahasevabhyahanyanta Sashabdastu mulo bhava.
After that, the conch shells, drums, bugles, trumpets, and horns were all suddenly sounded, and the combined sound was tumultuous.
So now there is more sound. All these conch shells, drums, trumpets, all these are being blown, and there's a very loud sound. Let's see what happens next.
Tadashvetai hayair mahadisyandane sthito madhavah pandavaschaiva divyau shankhau pradadmatuh.
On the other side, both Lord Krishna and Arjuna, stationed on a great chariot drawn by white horses, sounded their transcendental conch shells.
So now Bhishma's conch shell is blown. Now on the other side, who is blowing the conch shells? Lord Krishna and Arjuna are blowing their conch shell. Where are they situated? Where are they stationed? Where are they sitting?
On the white chariot of
on the
chariot drawn by white horses.
Yeah, the horses are white in color and on a great chariot. Who has given this chariot to Arjuna?
Agni Deva.
Agni Dev, isn't it? So is there anything special about this chariot?
Lord Hanuman on the flag.
Yeah, Hanuman is there on the flag. Very nice. That will come in the upcoming verse. But what is special about this particular chariot that Agni Dev gave him? Hanuman came later on the chariot.
That it cannot be defeated. It has
cannot
to
be
win.
defeated. Actually, this chariot can move in all directions. It can even go to the heavenly planets. Okay, it can move in all directions. So that was a speciality of this chariot that Agni Dev had given to Arjuna. Drawn by white horses. How many horses drove the chariot of Arjuna?
4.
4 white.
7.
Okay, so what is the speciality of these 4 white horses? Because if
they
you
could
have
move at the speed of one's thought.
Sorry, what's that, Disha?
What's special about these horses is that they could move at the speed of one's thoughts.
Yes, they can move at the speed of one's thoughts. See, the chariot is so great, it can even go to the heavenly planets. For that, now to draw that kind of a chariot, you cannot have ordinary horses, isn't it? So even the horses are special. The horses can go at the speed of one's thought. Very nice. Okay, and what have these 2 personalities, Krishna and Arjuna, done when they are seated on this great chariot drawn by white horses? They have sounded their transcendental conch shells. So their conch shells are not ordinary conch shells. Their conch shells are transcendental. Transcendental means they are spiritual. They are not like a material conch shell. Anything that is spiritual is more potent than anything that is material. For example, in the story of Hiranyakashipu and Prahlad, we know that Hiranyakashipu was this great demon. And even the Devatas were afraid of Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu had even conquered the heavenly planets. And Prahlad, his son, was only a 5-year-old boy. But Prahlad, the 5-year-old boy, on the strength of his spirituality, was able to defeat Hiranyakashipu. Hiranyakashipu was materially very strong, but Prahlad was spiritually very strong. So on the strength of his spirituality, Prahlad, the 5-year-old Prahlad, was able to defeat Hiranyakashipu. So spiritual strength is always greater than material strength.
Panchajanyam Hishikesho Devadattam Jananjayah Paundram Dadmau Mahashankham Bhimakarma Vrikodarah.
Lord Krishna blew his conch shell called Panchajanya. Arjuna blew his, the Devadatta, and Bhima, the voracious eater and performer of Herculean tasks, blew his terrific conch shell called Poundra.
So here we have the names of the different conch shells. What's the name of Krishna's conch shell?
Panchajanya.
Panchajanya. Arjuna's conch shell is called?
Devadatta.
Bhima's conch shell?
Poundra.
Poundra, isn't it? So Bhima is called as a voracious eater. Bhima would eat a lot. In fact, there is this history that Bhima once told Lord Krishna that I'm not able to follow Ekadasi Vrata. I'm not able to fast on Ekadasis because an Ekadasi comes every 15 days, isn't it? The 11th day of the waxing and again the 11th day of the waning moon. So he tells Krishna that I cannot do this Ekadasi fasting because I like to eat a lot. I cannot fast. So then Krishna tells him, okay, you follow one Ekadasi out of the 24 Ekadasis in the year, which is called as Nirjala Ekadasi. And if you follow Nirjala Ekadasi, you get the benefit of fasting on all the 24 Ekadasis of the year. So anyway, so Bhishma is a voracious eater. By what name is... what is the name of Bhima, which means that he's a voracious eater? In the shloka, you can see.
Vrikodara.
Vrikodara. Here, say Vrikodara. Vrikodara is Bhima's name. It means that he's a voracious eater. What name of Krishna is there in this verse?
Rishikesha.
Rishikesha, yes, Rishikesha. What does that name Rishikesha mean?
Controller of the senses.
Yes, or master of the senses. So in this case, because he is a master of the senses, he can direct the senses of the devotees. And this is exactly what Krishna is going to do. He is going to direct the sense of Arjuna, who is his dearmost devotee and friend. What is the name of Arjuna that we can see in this verse?
Dhananjaya.
Dhananjaya. Why is Arjuna called as Dhananjaya? What does the name Dhananjaya mean?
The winner of wealth.
The winner of wealth. So Dhan means wealth and Jaya means victory. So Dhananjaya means the winner of wealth. So why is he called the winner of wealth, or why is he called Dhananjaya? Anybody knows the story? Upasna?
Yeah, I remember a little because to get the money for the war, he went somewhere and he won the money for the war. That's why.
Yes, he
Of
went and
some
collected wealth.
mountain or something.
Yes. Yes, he collected wealth for Yudhishthir. Very nice. Anybody knows more on the story? Okay, let's see what we have here in the next slide. Okay, before we go there, okay, let's do that first. Okay, I don't have that slide with me. Okay, I'll tell the story here. So Yudhishthir had told Arjuna that I need wealth for performing yagyas and all these other things to take care of the kingdom. So therefore, go and arrange for getting some wealth. And that time Krishna, he gives Arjuna this information that there is this mountain of gold that was used by a king in the previous times. And the king was so opulent that when he would invite Brahmanas for a feast, he would serve food to the Brahmanas in plates made of gold. Now, these Brahmanas are completely detached, and they would say the Brahmanas, one of the Brahmanas' duties is they have to accept charity and they also have to give charity. They have to accept charity because when they accept charity from people, the people who are giving charity to the Brahmanas, they will benefit. So the Brahmanas have to accept it so that the people can benefit. Okay. So when somebody gives a donation to a Brahmana, it's the duty of the Brahmana to accept it. But when he receives more than what the Brahmana requires, then he has to also give away in charity. Not that the Brahmana is accumulating wealth, because that again a Brahmana is not supposed to do. So these Brahmanas would go and accept the invitation of the king, and the king is giving these golden plates to the Brahmanas. So they would eat in the golden plates. They have to accept what the king is giving them. But then after that, they would just throw away the golden plates because the Brahmanas are thinking that who is going to carry this burden along? So they used to just throw away these golden plates. And Krishna gives Arjuna this information that, in this particular spot, you can find all this gold and you can go and collect it and you can give it to Yudhishthir so that he can use it for whatever purpose he requires, to perform all these opulent yagyas, etc. So this is why Arjuna he came to be known as Dhananjaya. So coming to the different names, Srila Prabhupada explained the purport how there are different names. The Lord has millions of names and some names are mentioned in the purport. The Lord has different names according to his different activities. So what name of Krishna means that he is the killer of demon Madhu?
Madhusudana?
Madhusudana, yes. What name of Krishna means he gives pleasure to the cows and to the senses?
Govinda.
Govinda, very nice. Go means cow, go also means senses. Actually, go has one more meaning. What is that third meaning?
The one who gives the pleasure to the earth.
To the
earth.
Earth or land, yes, very nice. So go also means land. Son of Vasudev. He is the son of Vasudev, so he is called
Vasudeva.
Vasudev. Yes, Vasudev. See, we have to understand in Sanskrit, when there is a line on top of an alphabet, then you pronounce it as a double. So this is Vasudev, the father, and Krishna is Vasudev. So that's why on top of A, we have a double, we have a line on top. So we pronounce it as a double A, Vasudev. Because he is Devaki's son, he is called as
Devaki Nandan.
Devaki Nandan. Very nice. Because he awarded his childhood pastimes to Yashoda at Vrindavan, or because he is
Yashodanandan.
Yashodanandan. Yes, very nice. Because he worked as a charioteer of his friend Arjuna.
Sarathi.
What Sarathi?
Partha.
Partha Sarathi. Yes. Partha Sarathi. Partha is the name of Arjuna. What does the word? What does the name Partha mean?
Friend?
No.
Son of Kunti.
Son of Kunti. Another name of Kunti in relation to this word is
Pritha.
Pritha. Yes, exactly. So because he is the son of Pritha or the son of Kunti, he is called as Partha. Because Krishna is the charioteer of Arjuna, he is called as Partha Sarathi. In Chennai, there is a Partha Sarathi temple where Krishna is with a mustache and he's with his son and his grandsons. Very nice. If you visit Chennai, then please do visit the Partha Sarathi temple. Okay, because he is the husband of goddess of fortune, he is called
Narayan. Lakshmipati.
Lakshmipati, very nice. Or more names?
Narayan.
Madhava.
Madhava, yes. Madhava means he is the husband of the goddess of fortune, or even Lakshmipati, as you said. Because he is the master of senses, he is called
Rishikesh.
Because he is infallible, because he can never be defeated, he is called
Achyuta Mataji.
Achyuta, yes, very nice. Because he is killer of the Keshi demon, he is called
Keshavaya.
What's that, Lavina?
Keshavaya.
Keshava, yes, Keshava. Keshava also has one more meaning. What is that?
Who has beautiful hair?
Yes, one who has very nice, beautiful hair. That's why he's called as Keshava. Very good. Because he's the maintainer of all living entities, he is called
Jagdish or Jagatpati?
No. Jagdish Jagatpati is master of the universe.
Janardhan.
Janardhan, very nice. Janardhan. Because he is the all attractive, he is called
Krishna.
Krishna. Yes, the word Krishna means he is all attractive. Okay, let's go to 16, 17, 18. These three verses are clubbed together.
अनंत विजयं राजा कुंती पुत्रो युधिष्ठिरः नकुलः सहदेवश्च सुघोषमणिपुष्पकौ काश्यश्च परमेश्वासः शिखण्डी च महारथः धृष्टद्युम्नो विराटश्च सात्यकिश्चापराजितः द्रुपदो द्रौपदेयाश्च सर्वशः पृथिवीपते सौभद्रश्च महाबाहुः शङ्खान् दद्मुः पृथक् पृथक्
King Yudhishthira, the son of Kunti, blew his conch shell, the Ananta Vijaya, and Nakul and Sahadeva blew the Sugosha and Mani Pushpaka. That great archer, the king of Kashi, the great fighter Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, Virata, the unconquerable Satyavaki, Draupada, the son of Draupadi, and the others, O king, such as the mighty armed son of Subhadra, all blew their respective conch shells.
So now we see how all the others on the other side, on the side of the Pandavas, they have all blown their respective conch shells. Who is the mighty armed son of Subhadra?
Abhimanyu.
Abhimanyu. Yes, Abhimanyu. So here we have a summary of the different names of these conch shells. See, when the other conch shells are blown here, the names of the conch shells are not mentioned. Only he mentions who are the ones who blew the conch shells. King of Kasi, Shikhandi, Drishtadyumna, etc. The names are not there, but we have the names of the conch shells of each of the Pandavas. Nakul and Sahadev, their conch shells are called as Sugosha and Mani Pushpaka. And Yudhishthir's conch shell is called as Ananta Vijaya. So here you see the names of the names of the conch shells of Krishna and the 5 Pandavas.
सघोषोधार्तराष्ट्राणाम् हृदयानि व्यधारयन् नभश्च पृथिवीं चैव तुमुलोऽभ्यनुनादयन्.
The blowing of these different conch shells became uproarious, vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra.
So what is the effect that these conch shells have had? The conch shells on the Pandavas side. What is the effect of these conch shells?
Vibrating both in the sky and on the earth.
Is vibrating both in the sky and on the earth. Okay. And
it shattered the hearts of son of Dhritarashtra.
It shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. Did the blowing of Bhishma Dev's conch shell shatter the hearts of the Pandavas?
No.
No. What was the effect that Bhishma Dev's conch shell had?
It was just like a roar of a lion.
Exactly. It was like the roar of a lion. So it just made a huge sound. Okay. That was the only effect. But these conch shells are vibrating in the sky and on the earth, and it shattered the hearts of the sons of Dhritarashtra. That's how loud these conch shells were. So remember, these conch shells of the Pandavas, of Krishna, these are divyam. These are transcendental. But the conch shell of Bhishma, it's not mentioned that it is divyam. It is not mentioned that it is a transcendental conch shell. And very interestingly, on the Kaurava side, only one mention is made of Bhishma Dev having blown his conch shell. And that also the name of the conch shell is not mentioned. Entire Kauravas, only Bhishma Dev's name is there that he blew his conch shell. But on the side of the Pandavas, there are so many conch shells. We have the details of the names of each of the conch shell. And so many other warriors also who blew the conch shell, their names are mentioned.
अथ व्यवस्थितान् दृष्ट्वा धार्तराष्ट्रान् कपिध्वजः प्रवृत्ते शस्त्रसम्पाते धनुरुद्यम्य पाण्डवः ऋषिकेशं तदा वाक्यम् इदमाह महीपते.
At that time, Arjuna, the son of Pandu, seated in the chariot bearing the flag marked with Hanuman, took up his bow and prepared to shoot his arrows. O king, after looking at the sons of Dhritarashtra drawn in military array, Arjuna then spoke to Lord Krishna these words.
So who is now seated on the chariot of Arjuna?
Son of Pandu.
No,
Son
here.
of
Lord
Son of
Hanuman.
Pandu is seated, and then on that chariot is also a very, very special personality called
Hanuman.
Hanuman. He is there present on the flag. So how did Hanuman come on the flag of Arjuna? Anybody knows that story? Yes, Upasna? I see your hand is raised, Upasna. Do you know the answer?
No, I don't know, but I didn't raise.
Okay, because your hand is still raised on Zoom. Okay, anybody who knows the answer? Lavina, you were saying something.
No, I don't remember the whole one, but I don't know actually.
Okay, Ranjit?
Actually, when before the war, Bhima went to Hanuman for the protection. So he promised to protect the Pandavas in the future, means in the war against the Kaurav, to take place as in the form of Dhwaja.
Okay, it's semi-correct, not fully correct. Anybody
So
know?
he said,
Yeah, Bhim did not go to Hanuman and ask for protection.
Krishna told Bhima to go. I don't remember the whole one.
No, Krishna didn't tell Bhim to go to Hanuman.
Bhim tries to lift the tail of a monkey, or there's a fight between them, something like that.
Yes, Bhim tries to lift the tail of a monkey. Very nice. So where does he come across him? Who is this monkey?
Lord Hanuman.
Lord Hanuman. So it
So
was
he's
a
trying
chance
to
meeting. Yeah. And
he's trying to teach a lesson to Bhim that he's not the strongest, or something like that. Is it? I'm not sure.
Okay. Anybody else wants to try? Devina?
Maybe because he was Lord Hanuman was there in Ramayana also. He's here also.
Yes, he was there in Ramayana, and in Ramayana, he was on the side of Lord Ram, and then Lord Ram emerged victorious, isn't it? So Hanuman's presence on the side of Arjuna is an indication that even Arjuna's side is going to emerge victorious. Very nice, Devina. Krishna Kumar?
Actually, when Pandavas were undergoing the 12 years.
Your voice is breaking. I cannot hear you properly.
When Pandavas were undergoing the 12 years of thing.
Yes.
Then Bhima was very angry that even though they have not done nothing wrong, yet still they have to spend that 12 years in this thing. So he once got angry and he was walking past that way. So at that point of time, gods thought that we should give some knowledge to Bhima that he should control his anger and direct his anger in a proper direction. So that is when, passing through that one forest, so Hanumanji appeared, and he probably have the tale story that he wanted to go straight, and anything in his path he was destroying. So Hanumanji laid sage on his path, and he just instructed Bhima to this thing. So when Bhima was not able to do that tale, immediately Hanumanji he realized that it was nothing but his God, his son. He is also the son of God, wind. Hanuman is also known as wind. He is his brother, and immediately asked for pardon and asked for instructions. At that time, Hanumanji forgives him, and he also tells that because they are all preparing for the war. At that time, he requests Hanumanji to be on his side at the time of the war, and that is when he says that, okay, I cannot, because I'm not from this yuga, I will not take part in the war, but I will be there with you all in the form of the flag in our side's chariot. That is why he is seen on the chariot of Arjuna.
Okay. The first half of the story is not accurate. The second half is correct. Yeah, Shri Hari Radha Mataji.
Was it that Bhim, Hanuman said that I would be on your
on your
He
arm.
had promised Bhim that he would sit on the flag for Vijay, so they could have Vijay.
Yes, he was seated on the flag so that they can emerge victorious. But what led to the meeting of Hanuman and Bhim? It's not that Bhim was angry because they are in exile.
I think he was going to fetch some flower for Draupadi.
Yes. Draupadi requested him to get 1,000-petal lotus flower. They are in the place called Badrikashram. And so he goes in search of this lotus for Draupadi. And at that time, he comes across a monkey with the tail there. But he cannot cross over the tail because it's a mark of, we should not cross over somebody else because then we are disrespecting the person. We will always hear elders saying that don't step over somebody. You're disrespecting the person. So he doesn't want to disrespect Hanuman. So he tells Hanuman that please move your tail, it's coming in the way. And then Hanuman says, I'm old, you move my tail. And then Hanuman realizes that he is not able to move the tail even 1 inch. And then Hanuman reveals who he really is. And then he says that I will be present on the flag. Now, what does Hanuman do on the flag that helps the Pandavas?
He shouts in a way that will make the enemies almost lifeless.
Yes, Hanuman says that I will scream and shout at the top of my voice and create this sound that will create fear in the heart of the warriors on the Kaurava side. So that is what Hanuman is doing on that flag. Very nice, Tisha. So let's read this.
The monkey smiled at him and said, I will gladly tell you who I am. I am the son of the wind god Hanuman. With these words, they tightly embraced each other and tears of joy came from their eyes. They talked for a long time, and Bhishma was thrilled beyond words that he had finally met his brother, whom he had only heard about previously. Before their departure, Hanuman bestowed a boon on Bhima. Vijayasya dvajastascha nadan mokshayami darunan satrunam ye pranaharaha sukham yena hanisyata. Staying on the victory flag of Arjuna, I will shout fiercely in such a way that it will make the enemies almost lifeless, and thus it will be easy for you to kill them. After Hanuman gave this boon to the Pandavas, the brothers embraced and departed.
So this is what Hanuman does on the flag, that he shouts out fiercely in such a way that it will make the enemies almost lifeless. And then it will be easy for them to kill the enemies. So with this, we come to the end of today's class and also the second section. So now we'll discuss what are the signs of victory that we have seen so far. In the next class, we will see the beginning of Arjuna-Krishna Samvad. The conversation between Krishna and Arjuna begins with the next verse, which we will see in the next class. Okay. But before we end, we need to discuss what are the signs of victory. So what are the signs of victory we have seen for the Pandavas?
Krishna being personally present.
Yes, one is Krishna is personally present on the battlefield. And of course, he is going to be on the side of Dharma. Very nice. Next.
Hanuman on the flag.
You have to raise your hand, Ayush. Yeah, Krishna Kumar.
Conch shell creating fear in the enemy.
The conch shells are creating fear in the hearts of the Kauravas. Because these conch shells are, what conch shells are they?
Transcendental.
Transcendental. We have to remember that these conch shells of the Pandavas are transcendental, but those on the side of the Kauravas are not transcendental. So that is another sign of victory. Yes.
And the presence of the flag of
Bhumika?
Hanuman flag.
Hanuman is on the flag. So that ensures victory for the Pandavas because Hanuman was on the side of Ramachandra. Ramachandra attained victory and now he's on the side of, again, Dharma. And they are going to emerge victorious. Very nice. Ranjit?
the arrangement was done by Lord himself, actually. So this is also sign of the victory.
What arrangement was done by the Lord?
Whatever the Krishna said to Arjuna.
Whatever the Krishna said to Arjuna was arranged by Krishna himself. Okay, so the Lord purposely put Arjuna under illusion so that he can speak the Bhagavad Gita. Very nice. Shri Hari Radha Mataji, your hand is raised.
Oh, no. I'm sorry. I forgot to put it down, I think.
Okay. Venkatachari Prabhu?
The chariot and the horses.
The chariot and the horses. The chariot and the horses are not ordinary ones. So that is also, they are special and that they indicate victory for the Pandavas. Very nice. Ayush?
The battlefield, the war taking place in Kurukshetra.
The war taking place in Kurukshetra, which is Dharma Kshetra, which is a holy place. So therefore it will influence the Pandavas. Very nice. Again, Venkatachari Prabhu?
Duryodhana also acknowledging Pandava's strength.
Yeah, Duryodhan, you can see that fear has crept into the heart of Duryodhan. Okay, very nice. So, but the Pandavas have no fear in their heart. No, the Pandavas are fully confident of victory because they know that Krishna is on their side. Ranjit?
Conch itself, which is the symbol of Vishnu.
The conch shell itself is a symbol of Vishnu. Even the conch shell that is being blown by Bhishma, that conch itself is a symbol of Vishnu.
And it was a transcendental consuls.
Yes. No, Bhishma's conch shell is not transcendental because see the description when you read the shloka, nowhere it is said that Bhishma's conch shell is divyam. Only when the conch shells of Arjuna and Krishna are blown, it says that they are divyam. Yeah, Gayatri?
The conch shells broke the hearts of Dhritarashtra's sons.
Yes, the conch shell shattered the heart, broke the hearts of the Dhritarashtra's sons, Kauravas. Very nice. Because they are transcendental, they have that effect on the sinful people, on the enemies. Very nice. More?
Arjuna's chariot, which is given by the Agnidev.
Yeah, the chariot is also transcendental. Very nice. We covered that point. More? Okay, I think we have covered all the points. So we have a very educated audience here. Here there is a summary. And the goddess of fortune, this thing we missed. Okay, first of all, Krishna's personal presence confirms victory. Krishna's Rishikesha, he directly controls the senses of a pure devotee. So because he's going to directly control the senses of Arjuna, he is going to lead him to victory. Goddess of fortune, whenever and wherever the Lord is present, goddess of fortune is also there. She never lives without her husband. Therefore, all fortune is guaranteed. See, the nature of Lakshmi is that she's very chanchala. No, she doesn't stay in one place. So she keeps moving from the one place to the other place. But how you can ensure that Lakshmi Devi always stays with us is when we worship her husband. Because Lakshmi is always going to be beside Narayan. She's always going to be beside her husband. So when we worship Narayan, automatically Lakshmi is there by default. But if we worship Lakshmi without Narayan, if we want money or we want Lakshmi without Narayan, then that is demoniac mentality. That's the mistake that Ravan did. Ravan wanted Sita, but he didn't want Ram. He wanted Lakshmi without Narayan. So wherever Narayan is present, automatically Lakshmi is going to be there, the goddess of fortune. That's why he's called as Madhava, the husband of the goddess of fortune. So therefore, Lakshmi also means fortune, no? Good fortune. So therefore, fortune is going to favor the Pandavas because fortune is automatically there beside Krishna. So this is also a very nice point. When Kurukshetra is a holy place, Hanumanji on Arjuna's flag. Hanumanji also helped Lord Ram in gaining victory. Transcendental conch shells, Krishna Arjuna's conch shell mentioned as Divya, transcendental. Bhishma's conch shell to pacify Duryodhan. So we saw Bhishma's conch shell was there to pacify Duryodhan, but it was not Divyam. Shattering of the hearts. Conch shells of Pandavas shattered Kauravas' hearts. Pandavas' hearts are not shattered because of confidence in Krishna. Agnidev's chariot given to Arjuna, it was capable of conquering all directions. White horses given to Arjuna by Chitrarath, a Gandharva, they were capable of moving at the speed of one's thought. So with this, we come to the end of today's class by the mercy of Sri Guru and Sri Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.. Bhagavad Gita ki
jai.
Jai.
Thank you. Good
Thank
night.
you very much
Thank
for
you.
participating.
Hare Krishna.
Hare
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna and pranams.
Mataji, I have a
Hare
question.
Krishna.
Hare
Now.
Krishna.
Yes, yes, Mahek.
Mataji, when the armies were given the chance to switch sides, why did Dronacharya and Bhishma, being Bhishma Pitama, being righteous, they couldn't switch side to Pandavas?
Okay, so Bhishma is a Kshatriya, and Kshatriyas give great importance to whatever vows they take. And Bhishma Dev has taken the vow to always protect the throne of Hastinapur. Okay, so his loyalty is to the throne of Hastinapur. His loyalty is not to Duryodhana or the Kauravas, but whoever is on the throne, there he has to show his loyalty. That's the promise that he has taken. So in order to protect his vow, he had to fight in favor of the Kauravas. And as far as Dronacharya is concerned, Dronacharya was employed by the throne of Hastinapur, Kauravas, so that he can become the teachers of the Pandavas and the Kauravas. So because he's employed, no, the throne of Hastinapur, the king, he's his boss, so to speak. He receives a salary, so he has to follow his. He has to show his loyalties to the person who's employing him, who's giving him his bread and butter. So that's why those two did not change sides, and they fought the war in favor of Duryodhana.
Okay, thank you, Mataji.
You're welcome. Any other questions? Anything we have to discuss? Okay, so mostly, yeah. Ranjit, you have something to say?
Yeah, I wanted to ask how many horses was there in the chariot of Arjuna?
Four. Many people think it's 5, but actually it was 4. We even have the names of the horses of Arjuna's chariot, which I don't know by memory, but I can share it in the group. The names of the 4 horses. Saibya.
Okay, even I was thinking 5 because of the census and all this. Yeah, thank you.
No, it's 4. Okay, you're welcome. Any other questions? Comments, criticisms?
No criticisms.
Okay. So let's end today's session. Thank you very much for attending. Vancha kalpa taruvyascha kripa sindhu vyayevacha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Dana pranams.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mataji.
Thank you.
Thank
Hare
you.
Krishna.
Hare Krishna.